talked about the 3 things that they wanted us to keep in mind when going into reading the bracket system, and I had a feeling that most people were not going to keep those in mind. Because a few people have said things like, oh, you know there's going to be people that bring in optimized lists to those lower powered games. There's going to be 4 levels of pub stomping now. While that is a very valid concern, I don't think that's the initial point of this system. The thing about bad actors or pub stompers is that that's the kind of behavior that they kind of naturally engage in. You know, changing the system doesn't change the person that they are. They're just going to engage in that crappy behavior in some other way or some other form. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. While that is a problem and that sucks, I think what we first need is to just have a system in place in general. Once we've solidified some kind of system that people can adopt, then we can start enforcing it a little bit or mitigating the problem. But right now, what we really need is a system of some sorts. We don't even have that right now. So what is the whole point of this bracket system then? Well, it's for the people that are not the crappy people out there. It's for people that actually want to find a game of matching power levels and be able to communicate that with each other. And while initially I think it will be rough because a lot of people are going to interpret this differently, I think eventually we're going to get some sort of middle ground here. Something that I think a lot of people might be missing out there is that the criteria is not the only thing about the bracket system. We also have to consider the mindset, the mentality, the philosophy, the intention of each bracket. Me trying to optimize my chair typal deck is missing the whole point of bracket 1. In fact, the more that I start optimizing, the more I'm moving closer to bracket 4. Even if the deck list doesn't meet requirements for things from 3 or beyond, it's the intention that I put behind the deck. So just because Moxfield tells me that my $20 Oviga deck meets the requirements of a bracket 2 deck doesn't mean that I built it with the intention of bracket 2. Even though there's no infinite combos or game changers in there, I still built it with the intention of optimizing it, and so it plays a lot closer to bracket 4. And yes, I do believe that there is going to be a lot of ambiguity between brackets because I'm not quite sure if it can handle bracket 4, but I do think it can handle bracket 3 for sure. But I think that's why it's important to have this system in place so that we can play test, we can reiterate, and we can refine it. I do have one gripe though. I don't like that deck building websites give you a bracket rating. Like, I get that they're trying to get people to adopt the bracket system, but I feel like this is going to lead to a lot of miscommunication because this can't sense intent. Like, if I busted this deck out against the precon, I'm pretty sure I'm going to steamroll them. And I think it will be a lot of people with good intentions, but they're going to say, Moxfield said that my deck was a bracket 2. And I think a lot of people are going to have issues on determining on whether that person's telling the truth or not, and so they're going to assume that they're a pub stomper. And I think if it happens enough times, then people are going to have confirmation bias that this is a breeding ground for pub stompers and they're not going to adopt this system. But we'll see how it actually plays out. Maybe this will actually end up being really helpful for people. Maybe people will keep things in mind and be more open to this kind of thing and know that it's going to be a little bit rough at first. So I'm a little bit hopeful about this.